Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottama Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 21, the dynasty of Bharata. So the description of one of the great descendants of Bharat Maharaj, Rantideva. Text number 13. Kshut, Trit, Shramo, Gatra, Paribhrama, Cha, Kshutrut, Shramo, Gatra, Paribhramascha, Dainyam, Klamaha, Shoka, Vishada, Mohaha, Dainyam, Klamah, Shoka, Vishada, Moha, Sarve, Nivrittaha, Kripanasya, Jantoho, Sarve Nivritta, Kripanasya, Jantor, Jijivisho, Jiva, Jala, Arpanan, Me, Jijivishor, Jiva, Jala, Arpanan, Me, Kshutrut, Shramo, Gatra, Paribhramascha, Dainyam, Klama, Shoka, Vishada, Moha, Sarve Nivritta, Kripanasya, Jantor, Jijivishor, Jiva, Jalarpanan, Me, Kshutra, Shramo, Gatra, Pravibhramascha, Dainyam, Klama, Shoka, Vishada, Moha, Sarve Nivritta, Kripanasya, Jantor, Jijivishor, Jiva, Jalarpanan, Me, Kshutra, Shramo, Gatra, Paribhramascha, Dainyam, Glama, Shoka, Vishada, Moha, Sarve Nivritta, Kripanasya, Jantor, Jijivishor, Jiva, Jalarpanan, Me, Kshutra, Shramo, Gatra, Paribhramascha, Dainyam, Glama, Shoka, Vishada, Moha, Sarve Nivritta, Kripanasya, Jantor, Jijivishor, Jiva, Jalarpanan, Me, Kshut, from hunger, Trit, and thirst, Shamaha, fatigue, Gatra, Paribhramaha, trembling of the body, Cha, also, Dainyam, poverty, Klamaha, distress, Shoka, lamentation, Vishada, moroseness, mohaha, and bewilderment, sarve, all of them, nivrittaha, finished, kripanasya, of the poor, jantoho, living entity, the chandala, jiji visho, desiring to live, jiva, maintaining life, jala, water, arpanat, by delivering, may, mine, translation, and there is no purport. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. By offering my water to maintain the life of this poor Chandala who is struggling to live, I have been freed from all hunger, thirst, fatigue, trembling of the body, moroseness, distress, lamentation, and illusion. Please repeat this translation after me. By offering my water to maintain the life of this poor Chandala who is struggling to live, I have been freed from all hunger, thirst, fatigue, trembling of the body, moroseness, distress, lamentation, and illusion. I'll read the next few verses by myself. Text 14. Iti prabhashya paniyam mriyamana pipasaya pulkasaya dadad dhiro nisarga karuno nripaha. Translation. Having spoken thus, King Rantideva, although on the verge of death because of thirst, gave his own portion of water to the Chandala without hesitation, for the king was naturally very kind and sober. Text 15. Tasya tribhuvanadhishaha falada phalam ichhatam atmanam darshayam chakrur Maya Vishnu Vinirmitaha. Translation. Demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, who can satisfy all materially ambitious men by giving them the rewards they desire, then manifested their own identities before King Rantideva. For it was they who had presented themselves as the Brahmana, Shudra, Chandala, and so on. Text 16. Savaitebhyo namaskritya nissango vigataspruhaha vasudeve bhagavati bhaktya chakre manaparam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. King Rantideva had no ambition to enjoy material benefits from the demigods. He offered them obeisances. But because he was factually attached to Lord Vishnu, Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he fixed his mind at Lord Vishnu's lotus feet. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung, Anya Devashraya Nai Tomara Kahinu Bhai A Bhakti Parama Karana. If one wants to become a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord, one should not hanker to take benedictions from the demigods. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Kamaistaistai Hrutagyana Prapadyante Anya Devata. Those befooled by the illusion of the material energy worship gods other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, although Rantideva was personally able to see Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, he did not hanker to take material benefits from them. Rather, he fixed his mind upon Lord Vasudeva and rendered devotional service unto him. This is the sign of a pure devotee whose heart is not adulterated by material desires. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam Anukulyena Krishnanu Sheelanam Bhakti Uttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachari Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desh. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the character and behavior of Lord Rantideva is very instructive for all of us, and very practical instructions that Rantideva has to give us or teach us some practical things, especially for those who want to progress in devotional service. So Rantideva, as he says in the 12th verse, after having fasted for 48 days without any food or water, he was about to break the fast. So many people started coming and asking him for some food. So whatever food he had, he gave away. Because one after another, they were coming before he was just about to begin eating to break his fast. And in the end, when only water remained, he thought, let me satisfy myself with just drinking this water. And just when he was about to drink water, one Chandala came. I am very thirsty, even though I am a very low class person. Kindly give me some water. So then Rantideva, seeing that poor fatigued Chandala, he spoke so very nicely that merely hearing his words, anybody would feel very satisfied. And even if they were on the verge of death, his nectarian words would serve like nectar itself, amrita, to revive that person, to save the person from death. So what were the words he spoke? Nectarian words. I do not pray to the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, for the 8 perfections of mystic yoga, nor for salvation from repeated birth and death. These are the two different goals of those practicing Hatha Yoga and those practicing Jnana Yoga. Yoga Siddhi and Moksha or Mukti. So what does Rantideva pray for? I want only to stay among all the living entities and suffer all their distresses. On their behalf, I want to suffer, so that they may be freed from suffering. So this is the characteristic of a pure devotee. A pure devotee has no desire for himself. There is no desire of any kind for himself. But still he has desire. What is his desire? He wants to free all suffering souls from their suffering. And if required, to free them from suffering, he is willing to suffer on their behalf. Why? Because people suffer on account of their own past sinful activities. So different people have different sinful reactions to undergo. So they suffer different kinds of sinful reactions. So Rantideva, being an ideal pure devotee, he has the same attitude as the Supreme Lord has towards the suffering living entities. Krishna is an ocean of mercy. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho. So are the devotees of Krishna, the pure devotees. They share the qualities of Krishna. So pure devotees also are ocean of mercy, which means they have so much compassion for the suffering souls. And how much is their compassion? That is expressed in the words of Rantideva, that I want to suffer all distresses on their behalf. Now somebody may say, devotee is a limited person. Krishna is unlimited. He can take away all the sinful reactions because he is an unlimited person. Devotees are limited. So how can they take unlimited distress on behalf of so many living entities suffering so much? So the answer is that because they have this heart for freeing all living entities from their distress, because they can't see others suffer. They cannot tolerate others suffering. So therefore, Krishna empowers them to do whatever they want to do. Krishna empowers them. And somebody like Rantideva, who is a pure devotee, he is capable of freeing everyone from their distresses. And in exchange for their distress, he is willing to suffer, but Krishna will never make such a pure devotee suffer. Krishna will never do that. So not only he spoke these nectarian words, but also actions. Nectarian words and wonderful activities, amazing activities. That next he said, by offering my water to maintain the life of this poor Chandala who is struggling to live. It's like there is some limited water and somebody whose life, survival depends on that, getting at least that water. It is said on the battlefield, when some injured warrior or soldier, he is completely on the verge of death. If he does not get water in time, he will die. So water is a very, very important requirement for surviving when one is fatigued, tired, hungry, thirsty. If they don't get at least some water to drink, even if they don't get food, if they get some water, they can survive. But if they don't even get water, then they will die. So, when two people are both on the verge of death, the Chandala, because of his past sinful activities, he is not having food, he is not having even water to drink. Whereas Rantideva, he is not a sinful person. He is the most pious person. He is a pure devotee. So he doesn't have to suffer, but voluntarily he accepted some austerity. And after that austere 48 days of fasting from food and water, he is about to break his fast. Now he is ready for breaking the fast, but the situation, has arisen that he had to share whatever food he had with other hungry people. He said, never mind, I am hungry, I am supposed to take some portion of the food at least, but in exchange for relieving other people's hunger, if I can give away even what is my share of the food, I don't mind. So he gave away all his food. Now water alone is remaining, and that water, if he does not take, he is going to die. He's on the verge of death. But there is this poor Chandala who's also suffering, struggling. So he says, doesn't matter, even if I die, but let this person be relieved of his thirst and thereby save his life. So he says, by offering this water to him, it's not that I'm going to die. Rather, he's telling, I will be freed from all hunger, thirst, fatigue, trembling of the body, moroseness, distress, lamentation, and illusion. So, one who gives away in this way, the way Rantideva is giving, is never a loser. The materialistic point of view, if you are hungry and you have some food, if you give away that food and you don't satisfy your hunger, you're going to suffer. Already you're suffering because you're hungry, but you're going to suffer more. So which sensible person will want to suffer more when he has got some food after he's been hungry and does not eat the food? So Rantideva is telling that may be the calculation of ordinary materialistic persons. And because they don't know other ways of making a permanent solution to all bodily problems. That's why Rantideva is telling, I've given away my food, I'm also giving away my water, but I'll be freed from hunger and thirst instead of suffering more due to not taking food, due to not taking water. I'll be freed from all hunger and thirst. And not only hunger and thirst, I'll be freed from my fatigue, tiredness, trembling of the body, moroseness, distress, lamentation, illusion. Everything is finished. How is that? Because Rantideva is acting in devotional service. He is teaching by his actions how to perform devotional service. So how is it devotional service? Giving some food to some deserving person. Now it depends on the attitude with which this feeding the hungry or giving water to the thirsty is done. This is very important for devotees to note. If we consider a person who is hungry as a person who is suffering due to not having food, and if I have got food which I can give him, let me help him become free from hunger by sharing this food out of some sentiment, showing pity, showing compassion, trying to help. Somebody may give some food to a hungry person who may be relieved from hunger. So such sharing of food or giving away food is actually under the modes of material nature. It is with a materialistic conception that people are suffering in this world because of some scarcity of food or scarcity of some medicine or scarcity of some money, poverty, etc., etc. This is not the correct understanding. Maybe the immediate cause for somebody's suffering may appear to be something, but the real cause or the ultimate cause, the remote cause, is their own past sinful activities. So only people in ignorance think, oh, this poor person is suffering from hunger because he doesn't have food to eat. That is not the correct understanding, because everyone is maintained by the Supreme Lord. And those who are non-devotees, the Supreme Lord maintains them through his agent called Durga Devi. Therefore, the scriptures declare Durga Devi is the mother of all living entities who are conditioned souls in this material world. She is the universal mother in this material world. In the spiritual world, the universal mother is Radharani. So there's a difference. Radharani, out of love a mother has for her children, she will provide everything that is required. Just like a mother provides for her child without any consideration. Now somebody may say, oh, Radharani is very kind, but Durga Devi, she is not always kind. Because we see Durga Devi sometimes as mother may not give a child food when the child is hungry and wanting to eat. Now, why would a mother do that? It's only in the interest of the child itself. Prabhupada gives an example. Just like, at least formerly it was the case that somebody had tuberculosis. Then as part of the treatment, till the treatment is completed, they should not take any solid food. So, one boy, he was crying, I want something to eat. And his younger brother did not know this boy is suffering from tuberculosis. Therefore, his mother is denying him some solid food. He was hankering for eating solid food. And then his brother stole some food from the kitchen which the mother had kept and not given to this boy, elder son. The younger boy, feeling pity, sympathy for his elder brother, oh, brother is crying, I want, and mother is not giving. Mother is so cruel. Let me give. So he took away stealthily and gave it to the boy. Then the mother was beating that younger son. Why did you give him whatever that food was? So then Prabhupada was passing by that house when he saw the mother is beating the child and the child is crying. So Prabhupada just stopped by. Those days neighbors and all, they were well acquainted. Appears like Prabhupada's neighbor in Calcutta. So Prabhupada stopped by and asked, why are you beating that child? What is he crying for? So then the mother is telling, this boy, he has given some solid food to his elder brother. So what's the harm there if he did that? No, he's suffering from tuberculosis. If he eats this, he will die. So Prabhupada said, oh, okay. Prabhupada understood. So, like that, when Mother Durga Devi, she's starving somebody without giving them food, it is because to cure them of their diseased condition. Only by starving, they can be cured of their diseased condition. Not by eating food. If they eat food when they're supposed to starve, their disease condition will get aggravated more and more and more. See, foolish people don't understand this. If they hear God is the maintainer of everybody, He provides for everybody, then why is God so cruel? So many people are suffering without food. Why is this God so cruel? And devotees describe God as very, very compassionate. Krishna, Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu. So then these atheists and materialists or ignorant, foolish people can say these devotees are very sentimental. They don't see the reality. And some atheists also criticize devotees. Oh, you pour milk for washing the body of some stone idol, but you won't give that milk to some hungry people, poor people who can't afford to buy milk. You'll not do that. You'll waste milk in the name of bhakti, the name of worship of God. You are foolish people. You are nonsensical people. They'll criticize devotees. You see? But what they don't understand is that there is a higher reason. First of all, why people don't get food even though they are hungry. Don't get food. Because by starving, their sinful reactions are nullified. So therefore, Shastras say, even if you have food, if you don't have food, anyway, you are forced to fast. But even if you have food, if you can fast on certain recommended days, your sinful reactions can be nullified. So what is Durga Devi doing when she is denying food to some people? It may look like they are poverty stricken or somehow they are not able to get some food. So they are feeling hungry, no food. So they are, we say fasting, they say starving. So they're starving. No, there is no starvation. There is no suffering. Actually, they are just atoning for their past sinful activities. And when they atone in this way, they suffer the pangs of hunger. They suffer from thirst, or they suffer from fatigue, or they suffer from some distress. Then their sinful reactions are completely nullified. Their suffering will come to an end. And those who are devotees or pious people, they understand this, and therefore they voluntarily accept to fast. Voluntarily accept fast. So that even though they can eat, they have food, but they will not eat. Why? So that their sinful reactions are nullified. And when sinful reactions are completely nullified, then no more material existence. No more material existence. No more hunger, thirst, all these things. Trembling of the body, moroseness, distress, lamentation, illusion, everything is finished. So, Rantideva, as a pure devotee, he is teaching us that if you can share what you have, even if you may have little less to eat, or of course we cannot imitate Rantideva, that when we are extremely hungry and I have only little food that will satisfy my hunger, even that I'll give away to another hungry person. No, we don't have to imitate Rantideva. At least we can share whatever food or water we have after satisfying our minimum requirement. We can do that. But then the attitude is not that I am showing some mercy on somebody who doesn't have and I have. No. It is actually the Supreme Lord who is the provider for everyone. And on behalf of the Supreme Lord, let me relieve this person's suffering, because this person is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. He is suffering because of forgetfulness of his actual relationship with the Supreme Lord. He is lost in this material world. He is having a material conception of life. So he goes on committing sinful activities in ignorance. And those sinful activities result in sinful reactions. And those sinful reactions means is to suffer either thirst or hunger or fatigue or lamentation or poverty or distress or disease. Different ways these reactions are given as punishment for their sinful activities. So let me relieve this person. But it will only help the other person who is getting that food, because you are giving. It will only help very limited extent if you give it in a materialistic way. It will only help them relieve their immediate hunger. As you know, hunger cannot be completely relieved, permanently relieved by giving once sumptuous food. No. Every 8 hours or every 12 hours, person feels hungry, needs food. At least every 24 hours, definitely, they have to eat. So how can you permanently relieve their hunger problem? So somebody will say, I will set up a Nitya Annadana facility. Nitya Annadana facility. Daily they can come and have food if they don't have. Oh, very good. Very nice. You have made arrangement for relieving their hunger entire life. Very good. But what about their other necessities, other requirements? So somebody will say, oh, I have opened a big factory. I'll give them employment. So they'll automatically be able to get their food and all their other necessities. So like this, one may go on thinking of solutions to solve one problem, not only one problem, 2 problems, 5 problems, 10 problems. But the real problem of material existence is not hunger, thirst, fatigue, or some disease. No, bodily disease. No. It is actually their forgetfulness of Krishna. Material existence is only because of one primary reason. There are secondary reasons, of course. We prolong our material existence by sinful activities. But the primary reason is forgetfulness of Krishna. Forgetfulness of Krishna. So if we can relieve a person from his forgetfulness by reminding him, by giving him remembrance of Krishna, and that happens when you give a hungry man prasadam, Krishna prasadam. What's the difference? If somebody eats ordinary food, it will only nourish his body. If you give him prasadam, It will nourish his body, his mind, his intelligence, his ego, and his very soul, his very self. So prasadam is spiritually also nourishing, not only materially nourishing. Ordinary food is materially nourishing. So therefore, you give prasadam, and that's what Rantideva is doing. Water also. He's not giving ordinary water. He's giving water which is offered first to the Supreme Lord. Prasadam water he's giving. When it says here he had only enough water for one person to drink, it means he had only enough prasadam water. Water is plenty. Water is not scarce anytime, at least in those days. Water was there, but where is prasadam water? That is the scarcity in this world. Prasadam water. Food, actually there's no scarcity of food. There's scarcity of prasadam. Plenty of food is there. But where is prasadam? So, we have to distribute prasadam food, prasadam water. Anything we give to anybody, we should give it in the form of prasadam. So prasadam will relieve them both materially from material distress and from their fundamental problem of material existence itself by reviving their memory of Krishna. So that is the lesson to be learned from Rantideva's activity. And one more thing is, a pure devotee has no material desires of his own. He has no material desires. Neither he wishes others material prosperity, because he knows that is useless. Material prosperity may solve apparently some material problems, but that's temporarily going to solve. It's not a permanent solution for all material problems. Material wealth. It is said that at one time, I read one report, somebody had, some intelligent economist had calculated 7 richest people in the world, even if they give away 50% of their wealth, that can completely wipe out poverty on the surface of this globe. Now, this person is making this statement not as a sentimental, wishful thinking. No, he has done actual calculations. He's an economist. But what all these people don't understand is, first of all, it is practically not possible to redistribute wealth in an effective way. It's like our own government. So many programs they have for the poor to alleviate poverty. Many programs are there. And even if there are some very good IAS officers always, their brain works. These government programs, how is it going to reach the needy? One IAS officer I met, I said, what is your primary duty as an IAS officer? He said, my primary duty is all the government welfare programs, how to actually reach it effectively to the needy, for whom these programs are made. So he says it's a very big challenge, and it's a fact. It's very difficult to reach out. Even if the officer is honest, he's got all schemes, he's got all people under him who are very efficient, who are very nicely working under his direction. Still, practically, it is very difficult to reach out all the necessities of people. And somehow, if somebody were to reach out also, that is not going to solve their fundamental problem of material existence. Material existence continues. Is it true that all those people who have enough money, good health, their problem of material existence does not exist? They don't have any problems of material existence? See, this is called ignorance. So, the scriptures, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, they point out the fundamental cause of all problems, root cause of all problems. That is this material existence itself. It's called Bhava Roga. So, we have to cure the root cause of all our problems. That is, we had become freed from this Bhava Roga. And Bhavaushadhi, we have to take the medicine for curing this Bhava Roga. It's called Bhavaushadhi. And what is that Bhavaushadhi? Harinama, Hare Krishna. That is the Bhavaushadhi. Nivritta tarshair upagiyamanat bhavaushadhat shrotra manobhiramat. Bhagavatam declares the Bhavaushadhi, the best medicine for curing this fundamental problem of material existence, this disease called Bhavaroga, is to simply chant and hear the holy name of the Supreme Lord Hari. So therefore, today is the disappearance day of one of our previous acharyas. His picture is kept here, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He is the guru of Prabhupada's guru's guru, the fourth generation previously. So he worked, he was a district magistrate. He was a very learned person. He introduced English education in Orissa for the first time during British rule as a magistrate. He did that in the education department before coming to the judicial officer. He was in the education department. He did that. He wrote so many books in English, but the books he wrote, he did not write about material subject matter. He wrote about Krishna consciousness. He's written several books, and he worked very hard for preaching this Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the other previous acharyas, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. It is described that his work can only be compared with the activities performed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself or the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they are fully dedicated 24 hours, they have no other work, only preaching Krishna consciousness, because their maintenance was very, very simple and very minimal. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Acharya, he had so many responsibilities. He had a very big family. He had 10 children. And he was a government officer. And he had so many social responsibilities. He was a member of a society. He was a grahastha. He was not a sannyasi. But still, the amount of activities he performed for preaching Krishna consciousness is amazing. So his schedule is, he will not waste even 1 minute of 24 hours in a day. All the 24 hours are accounted how it is spent if we go through his schedule. He would go to court, 10 o'clock court starts, he would reach the court 2 minutes before 10 o'clock. And for all this, he had one pocket watch. Those days, there was no clock or watch. It was just being this mechanical movement. It was manufactured somewhere in Europe, maybe in England or Germany or something. So that was imported. So he had this watch, pocket watch. There was no concept of wristwatch those days. So this pocket watch always used to carry everything he used to do according to the correct time. So he would reach 2 minutes before 10. And what used to take other judges half an hour per case, he would finish one case in just 5 or 10 minutes maximum. So what took what other judges could finish in 10 days, he would finish in 1 day. 8 hours of work to finish off. Brilliant, extremely brilliant. And the lawyers who would argue the case, he would say, I just want to hear the salient points of your argument. I don't want to hear any humbug. So he was very, 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 very efficient, super efficient. And he would come home exactly on the dot, 1 o'clock. And then he would take little lunch and little relaxation for 10 minutes, immediately go back to court. And evening 5 o'clock, sharp, he will leave the court and come. And then immediately he will take supper. Supper means night meal. And then he will go to take rest. And then he'll get up in the middle of the night and then start translating books. Because he was writing in simple Bengali the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the scriptures by the previous acharyas. He was writing in simple Bengali. And then he would write. He wrote 100 books like this, being so busy. So morning, when it is daybreak, he'll chant his rounds after taking bath. After finishing writing books, he'll take his bath, chant his rounds. Then he will take breakfast. And breakfast also, immediately after breakfast, he will answer letters. He used to receive bullock cart loads of letters. Those days, that was the postal system, British postal system. So each and every letter he will answer. He had a stenographer who will take dictation. Just look at the letter, dictate the answer. Okay, next. So it is described. Now the pranam mantra for Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, let us all say this pranam mantra. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate. This pranam mantra is offering obeisances to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He is glorified. Gaura Shakti Swarupaya. He is the personification of the personal potency of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to preach Krishna consciousness. He worked with so much energy, only comparable to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own preaching activities. And Rupanuga Varayate, he is the best among the followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. Because Srila Rupa Goswami is the direct disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never wrote any books, but he taught some of his principal disciples the philosophy. And that was documented, that was recorded by his followers. So, Srila Rupa Goswami is the foremost among the disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who wrote extensively so many books explaining the philosophy of Krishna consciousness as taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, when we want to follow the teachings and the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have to refer to the books written by Srila Rupa Goswami. So, the followers of Srila Rupa Goswami are actually the sincere, proper followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are many other followers who don't follow Srila Rupa Goswami, but they have their own understanding and they are sometimes, many times, misled into misunderstanding the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyway, that's another big subject. So, among the followers of Rupa Goswami, he is the best among the followers. Rupanuga, the followers of Rupa Goswami, Rupanuga, Varayate, he is the best. Because not only he wrote books, not only he practiced, but he also preached. Three things. One is one's own personal practice. And the second thing is preaching. In preaching also, not only writing books for spreading the message and helping people understand the philosophy, but also by organizing practical programs. He organized so many programs for preaching Krishna consciousness. He established so many groups, and he set up a whole organization for spreading this teachings, for teaching others by one's own personal example, how to conduct one's own spiritual life, while simultaneously carrying out their other responsibilities. Because he himself was the example. He was a magistrate, he was a householder, he was having a family. So he did not neglect any of his duties. At the same time, he was preaching very, very actively, vigorously. So today is his disappearance day, and we pray to him for his blessings so that we may also engage ourselves nicely in devotional service, and we may also preach for relieving the suffering of other people who are bereft of this knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.